Thank you for coming tonight. For most of you, you already know this good doctor. Dr. Paul voted against the war from day one. He's never voted to raise taxes. He voted against the Patriot Act. Never voted for an unbalanced budget. And he's here with us tonight in New York City. Dr. the revolution is spreading. We can do it in New York City, we can do it anywhere. Things have been going great. The crowds are getting bigger. The campuses are responding. The ideas of liberty are alive and well, and they're very popular. It's a real complex message. You know, freedom works a lot better than tyranny. The Constitution ought to be obeyed. And that means that we ought to remove a lot of people from the U.S. Congress and it's also an indication that we ought to be able to eliminate a lot of the other candidates on both sides. You know, it is true that the war has been a big issue, and I've been arguing against that for a long, long time. It rather annoyed me in 1998 when we did set the standard to get rid of Saddam Hussein and have regime change. But what really annoyed me is when I brought up the subject in 2002 when they were preparing to go to war. I said, you know what, folks, you're not supposed to go to war unless you declare it. And you know what they told me? They said that was a frivolous idea and that we no longer look at But there's something significant going on in this country today, if not the whole world, because I think there's a lot of people are coming to the realization that the current status quo won't be maintained. We cannot maintain the system. It's financially incapable of existence. The dollar is doomed to fail. That's why we need a new standard of money. We need to get rid of the Federal Reserve. It's been a long time since any presidential campaign dealt with the money issue. And this year I was rather surprised, pleasantly so, that even on all the college campuses when I bring it up, it gets the loudest applause. And even the other night when we were at the University of Michigan, after I mentioned the Federal Reserve note, lo and behold, and I'm not suggesting this, but lo and behold, there were several people in the crowd that took out $1 bills and lit them up. Issue because people say you can't talk about the money issue because it's too complicated. But you know, is counterfeiting hard to understand? It's rather simple. You print a lot of money, the value goes down, and we have problems. But the deceitfulness of the monetary system is such is that it permits them to borrow in the future, fight wars they shouldn't be fighting, pretending that they can take care of everybody through a welfare system, at the same time spend us into bankruptcy, and young people know this, they're sick and tired of it, and they want a better deal. So to get the house in order, it's very simple. Bring all the troops home. bankruptcy, and the bills are coming due, and that's what this story is all about today. The dollar is crashing on international exchange markets. It's a very, very serious financial and political problem. So we have a great deal of work to do, but I'll tell you what, the time is right. The people are aware of this. The solutions are not that difficulty. Not that difficulty. All we have to do is just respect the rule of law, obey the Constitution, and get rid of all the unconstitutional activities that this government has been participating in. The freedom movement is the crowd that we get tend to be very diverse. I can't see the crowd tonight, but I'll bet you the crowd is rather diverse. We might even have some Republicans here. We don't know. And you know, I think we have a few independents out there. A few people who've been turned off and dropped out of the system. And just a few people who never were in the system before. And we might even have some Democrats. But then again, there may even be a few anarchists here. This is the magnificent thing about freedom. It brings people together because we're not competitive. We have responsibility for ourselves. We have a right to our life, our liberty. We have a right to pursue our happiness. And we ought to have the right to keep all of the fruits of our labor. We put high on the agenda of getting rid of the IRS and repealing the six put the responsibility on us. We're to take care of ourselves. We're to depend on self-reliance. We're supposed to help our fellow man and take care of our families and take care of ourselves. And the magnificent part about this is what produces the greatest prosperity ever known to man. Just let people alone. Get the government off our backs. Job. It's hard work, there's a lot of traveling and a lot of downside to it. The uplifting side is to meet people like you. But you know, the truth is, being president would probably be a lot easier. Because I don't want to run your lives, I don't want to run the economy, and I don't want to run the world. In contrast to freedom, which is that of tolerance, allowing people to live their own lives as they choose and allowing everybody to spend their own money and nobody's judgmental and we just leave people alone. In contrast to socialism and welfareism, the government takes everything from us and then they take it to Washington and then when they go down to Washington and fight over it, create all the special interests. Then production goes down, there's a shrinking pie, and they fight over the crumbs. And this is what's happening. I think people are becoming aware of it, that this can't last, that the prosperity we have today is based on borrowed money, depending on borrowing from places like China and Japan. And we know this is going to end, and I think this is why there's such a receptive ear to the message. And to me it's very exciting, because not only were there a lot more people well-informed and anxious to hear this message and anxious to work for it, but the young people who had not heard it before are rallying, they love it, and boy, do they know how to spread it.